What's going on, guys? I'm Retro Bliss, and you are on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. And we have a very interesting show, I think. This is one of our top 5 games for the 7800 console. We've done them for the 2600, I think. I think that might have been the only one. I can't remember at the moment, but it doesn't matter. So without further ado, I'm just going to bring in our panel, and we will talk and then go around the horn. So first, there's Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala, Brian from BD Retro Mods, and my very, very special friend, Brian Ballistic Coffee Boy. What's going on, Brian? I'm sorry I missed you last week. I know you got cut off there a little bit because of some storms, but we wanted to have you back. Take 2.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was telling you guys an email. It rained so much. Half my patio was down the street in like a gutter. Like just floated down the street. So it was crazy.
He said when he told me he was finding his furniture down the road about a half a mile, I'm like, what?
It was, crazy. But it's good to be here. I'm not Ballistic Coffee Boy and Ballistic Cocktail Boy tonight. So
okay.
You didn't tell me.
Due to the confusion in Brian's BD Retro Mods is B-Dog again for this episode.
Yes, B-Dog and Brian, or BCB, as we affectionately know him. I was looking at this. It's going to be an interesting show, and I believe there's going to be overlap. There were only 59 officially released games during the life of the console. There's actually been more games that were not officially released and homebrews than there were official.
These days, that's true for a lot of systems, though. Mm-hmm. Even systems that have big libraries, there's bigger homebrew libraries.
Yeah, but this is it's pretty.
This one very much so. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Mike from Mike's Gaming Gala, and we're going to go clockwise, and then just talk about. We're going to start with 5, work our way down to 1. Pick your game. Tell us why you like them. And before we get started with that, for those of you who are watching, please feel free to comment about our choices and what your choices would be in certain areas. So we welcome your comments here on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. So without further delay, go, Mike. You're good.
All right. So for my number 5, it's funny because I struggled less with my top few than I did with my back end. So for my number 5, there are a lot of games that I like, but this one I thought is kind of like the quintessential 7800 game, and I chose Food Fight. So Food Fight, it is, when you think of the 7800 and you think of the game library, one of the first games that comes to your head is probably Food Fight. I think it was the best-selling game for the system. I could be wrong on that, but certainly a very popular one. I like Food Fight a lot. I would not say that I'm like, Food Fight. I want to sit down and play Food Fight for 3 hours. But it's a perfect pick up and play game. It's very much in the style of an older Atari arcade game where it's the same thing over and over and over again, different scenery, maybe things placed a little differently. But it's great to sit down and play for 10, 15 minutes. I like it a lot. But the big reason why it beat out some other games for my number 5 spot was because I do feel it is like the quintessential 7800 game.
It is, spoiler alert, it just barely missed being on my list.
It missed? Okay.
It's number 6. I was struggling between this one and the one I'm going to pick when it comes to my turn, but I'm like, I struggled which one. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do Food Fight. I'm going to do this other one. So Food Fight's a great game.
You probably knew somebody else would do Food Fight.
And I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's at some point on my list. It is higher than number 5 for me, but
okay.
But I completely agree with you. It's kind of like one of those must-haves. And The nice thing is the current Atari did re-release the cart, so it is a lot more accessible now. Because there for a while, the original cart started to get expensive. When I bought it brand new for like $10. But
And correct me if I'm wrong. Back in the day, 7800 was the only system that had it.
The XE line, the Atari XE line.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, you're right. The 8-bit, okay.
Yeah, they ended up they released it I believe with the XEGS. So whenever they had both the 7800 and the XEGS, which was like the 15th incarnation of the Atari 800 line, that ultimately they released it at that point. So, but yeah, other than that, I do not believe it was on any other Atari console. So.
It's definitely a favorite of mine. I mean, I have it here. I didn't have it in my 5 because I knew someone was going to say it. But it's one of my favorite games I play all the time, and I actually have the Food Fight Replicate over here, which I also love, which has a banana joystick and little coins. It's so cool.
Yes, yeah.
I love it.
I will. I forget if Phil mentioned in the intro, but we are not including homebrews. We're doing the original retail list. I think he mentioned that in the intro. And I really like Mr. Baseman's comment is that his favorite 7800 game is Pac-Man 2600 because it's backwards compatible.
I've been getting migraines, and I think that's because you guys keep bringing up 2600 Pac-Man.
Great cure for a migraine is you sit, you close your eyes, and you go doo 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 doo.
And then start snapping rubber bands because that's what it sounds like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right.
So number 5. Okay, so what is your number 5? A B-Dog?
So
I love that's becoming a thing.
I know that's becoming a thing. Whoever knows how to hack 7800 games, I guess just take Scrapyard Dog and just call it B-Dog.
B-Dog.
Yeah. So, but
BD Retro Dogs.
Yeah, there you go. But
Scrapyard BD.
There you go. My number 5, and again, I kind of struggle with putting these in order. But what I decided for my number 5 is Desert Falcon, and
it's a great version.
It's a great version. They did have it for the 2600. The 7800 version is superior to it, just with graphics and control and everything. It's one of those games where you got to be a little patient with it, because I will say, because of it being the isometric angled view, the controls take a little bit of getting used to. Kind of like how it was with Zaxxon, which is, kind of, I don't want to say it's completely ripped off from that, but it's the same style of game. But I just really like the theme of it. And, even for being, not using a pokey chip, I mean, I find the sound to be good in the game. And
it sounds very good, yeah.
And just overall, just a very solid game, I think, for the console once you get over the initial learning curve of controlling it, with the isometric view. So,
and my big issue with I like Desert Falcon on the 2600, but the lack of 2 buttons does not help that game at all. But the better graphics and the 2 buttons on the 7800 makes it a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome game.
Game Closet wishes it was Desert Falcon.
Hey, what's up, Dr. Scott? Thanks for being on last
Go the
week.
Konami route, where they had...
Did you see this one, Brian?
Oh, geez. But, yeah. There you go. To Dr. Scott's point, that'll be the Proteus version of Desert.
Yes.
So
nice reference. I love the Proteus games.
Oh yeah.
All
That's
right.
an awesome game. I
right.
freaking love Desert Falcon. It's amazing.
Yep.
I may have it in my list.
It might be there.
I'm
Okay,
like,
well,
there's another one.
Tell us what's number 5 on your list now.
Well, now I've pushed one or so back. I didn't really put them in order because I like them all like equally. I guess they're so good. So I guess my number 5 would be Ball Blazer, and I didn't realize this, but there's 2 different end labels. I was just like, wow, I've got 2 versions of this.
I've never seen a red end label Ball Blazer for the 7800.
I think one of them's a PAL version, because I think the PAL version
okay.
did that.
It could be.
I could be wrong on that, but
It could be. I don't know.
and I think the only reason why I know that, which I'll probably get crucified on this right now, is that because I ended up getting a PAL version for really cheap, so I could gut the pokey chip to put into my flash cart.
Yeah.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, knocked off.
I booted him.
Yeah.
No, this is an awesome game. It's I first heard about it like many other games, I think, on Classic Game Room.
Yeah.
And I was like, never heard of it. And at the time I had a 7800 I just gotten, and I got it and I freaking loved it. And I also have it on the XEGS, and I think I have it in the box too for the XEGS. And I have the box for these 2. I just didn't bring them because they're
Early Lucasfilm.
place. It's such a good game. It's a sports game, kind of. I'm not a sports game fan, but it's so fun. It's so fun.
You could call it
gameplay. I love it.
You could call it a sports game, but it doesn't play like a sports game. Like it's a first person try to score into the other guy's net kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a great game. I love it.
It's great. It's got, I mean, the music is great. I kind of love the like setup for the game, that they like talk about it in the manual, it's the future, and Ball Blazer is popular, and you're like defending the Earth or something like that. But it's a cool little story, and I just really love the game. It's well put together. Once you get the hang of it, you just can't stop playing it. So
what you're saying is you're representing Earth in intergalactic competition. So it's like Mortal Kombat with balls.
Yes. Yes.
Somehow I think there's some innuendo.
No. No.
Okay. It just sounded that way.
I would never do innuendo.
I've not played a lot of Ball Blazer, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it was probably known for its best use of the pokey chip of the games that utilized it. I mean,
and
I know there were other games that did, but
I read somewhere that I think this game has the music built into it. Is that wrong?
Well, it has a pokey chip in it, so it's using it's using a sound chip on the cartridge instead of the sound card.
And there's something I read something about that it's like really like a high quality one for the time, or I don't know. I read that somewhere.
It's the same audio chip they used in the Atari 5200, and I think it's which I think both of those is also a derivative of a similar chip from their arcade boards, because they also had a pokey on the arcade boards.
Yeah. It's just an awesome game. I love it,
and very smooth on the 7800. It plays very well compared to other versions of the game.
Yes.
Okay, well, it's on me now. We didn't share our list with each other prior to the show, and this is going to be proof. My number 5 is Desert Falcon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. All the things that Brian said, I'll just say, yep, I'll second that. I do know I'm not like 100% great at that game, but I love shooters. Some people liken it to Zaxxon, but it's not really. It's just kind of its own thing, even though it's got the 3D and it's kind of got the angle that way, and it's a shooter. But it's it's a very unique concept, and I like it. And so even though I'm not great at it, that you guys know how I am with video games, I don't stick with one too long to get real good at it. But I do like playing it. It's a lot of fun. Desert Falcon was not my number 5. So great minds think alike, B-Dog.
There you go. And Torque is chiming in here and said, and yes, so the 7800 was built with audio lines on the cartridge to deliberately, with the deliberate intention that carts could play have additional audio capabilities. And Mr. Baseman says, Ballblazer is typically 1 to 2 players, but there are some studs out there that'll do with 3 to 4 players.
I play against the computer.
And that
all the
could
time.
be a 3-way or a 4-way.
Yeah, I play against the computer all the time.
You're
'cause I
making
don't
me
have any-
hungry
I don't have any real
for
people I play
Skyline.
against.
You're making me hungry for a menage a trois. Okay, sorry.
Okay. All right.
Number
Mike,
4, right?
Number 4 already. We're moving right along. We're doing good.
We're about where we should be.
I was going to say we're a quarter of the way through the show. We got through the first one.
Yeah, but we had the intro too. We had the
That's
intro
right.
and all the 3-way jokes. Okay, so my number 4 is Fatal Run. I love racing games. I love racing games where you get to shoot things. And who knew? Apparently, I really love racing games where at the end of each race you get to see the gravestones of the people you didn't save. It's not a super in-depth game. It's not like the best controlling racing game. It's not anything like that. It's got a charm to it, and like it's just fun. Every time I put it into the system, it's just fun.
Well, the storyline with it's so quirky. You know what I mean? Like it's like
really is.
nuclear. I think nuclear aftermath, and now you're having to go city to city to deliver. Radiation.
I think it's a pandemic, isn't it, or something like that? But something like that. But you're delivering medicine from city to city, and if you don't make it in time, more of them die.
Right.
And it's funny because you're like looking out the window and it's scrolling, and it's just like you see the cheerleader, and then boom, gravestone. It's like
sharp cut. Yeah. It's I always thought that the inclusion of people who lost their lives kind of reminds me of cannon fodder in a way. How whenever it goes by with the list, I wonder if that was inspired by that or the other or whatever. But it seems kind of similar in a way. But I freaking love. I freaking love Fatal Run. I have the cart from Atari as well, the new one that came out, the box cart manual. And just such a cool game.
And that is the nice thing, because again, that's been re-released by the new Atari as well, and which is good because that was a very expensive game if you prior to
over
that.
$100.
But no, I do like Fatal Run. Like I said, I think I would say it was probably my 6 or 7, because I was teetering of, do I bring it in there? But then I'm like, when I thought of other games I play more, I'm like, unfortunately, I want to put it in there, but I don't have the room for it.
And the other thing too is these are my favorite games. I'm not even saying they're the best games.
Oh, right.
I think there are games. If we were just saying, what I thought were the best 7800 games were, this probably wouldn't make my top 5. But as for most fun, and I really enjoy playing, Fatal Run's on my list.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. And I said the funny part with that is, like I said, it's just the storyline of it, but yet it looks like you're just racing through a normal city as if nothing ever happened.
Well, with machine guns.
With machine guns shooting. Yeah. I mean, for the storyline, you would have expected more of a Mad Max look, not an Outrun look.
Yeah.
And that's
you're right. It looks like Outrun.
Yeah.
But it plays like Mad Max.
Yes.
Well, here, go to the grocery store with your machine gun. That's nothing.
Here we go to the grocery store with our moose repellent.
Can somebody ban Poe? Okay.
I'm not going to put that one up, but that is hilarious.
Goodness, it's starting already.
That deserves a bahaha.
A little bit more out of hand.
But
okay.
Yeah. So my next one, and like I said, how I kind of like ballistic. It's hard to really put these in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 order. I did my best here, but and how I base it on which ones do I seem to go back to and play more than others, and that's really how I ranked mine. Going if I had to put them in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 order. So my number 4 is Dark Chambers. And it's, again, I think it's one of those must-have games for the 7800. If you're not really familiar with the history behind it, it's based off the original IP called Dandy that was on the Atari computer line, which also Gauntlet took heed from.
Yep.
So I would say Dark Chambers is closer to how Dandy played compared to how Gauntlet plays. I would say, Gauntlet's probably a little more polished, but overall, though, this is still a very fun game, and especially if you can get a second player with it as well.
I've never played it 2 players.
I
Never.
think a second player is almost required.
Yeah.
To get your best
Wow.
out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's better with 2 players if you can do it. But again, it plays very similar to that Gauntlet style. It's not exactly like Gauntlet. But there's a lot from it. Go ahead.
I always felt like it was almost like the poor man's Gauntlet.
Yeah.
'Cause I never played Dandy, but I loved Gauntlet on like the old computers and stuff. And then I remember the first time I played Dark Chambers, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like Gauntlet. And maybe pulling me back from my enjoyment of it was my desire for it to be more Gauntlet.
Yeah.
But it is a good game. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's like Gauntlet for people that have hearing problems, right?
Well, and again, the Gauntlet was kind of like the arcade. Well, it's not what I mean. It is. It's the arcade style, which meant it was meant to kind of have a faster feel to it compared to, Dark Chambers. The different enemies, depending on what the type of enemy is, like when you quote unquote kill it, it turns into the lower enemy of its type, and then the lower. So like you could have like the Grim Reaper, which I believe is the highest one. It will go into 3 other forms before it's finally dead. So it's just that's a little twist to it. But and like I said, I think movement wise, your character moves a little slower than like what you're used to with Gauntlet. But overall, it's a great game. I think it's a must-have, and especially with Atari re-releasing it, because again, this is a game that has shot up in price over the years. So it's nice to see that there's going to be a re-release for folks that want to play on the 7800 plus or even their original consoles.
This game is definitely in my top 10, but it did not make my top 5. But it is a good game. I did consider it. I really did. I did consider this game. It is a good game.
It's like number 6 for me. Like, and I can't even rank it because I like them all, right? But it's really hard to rank these, as we've said already. But it's just it's number 6. I probably would have picked it. I had it in my head, and I was thinking, what do I play the most?
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
Unfortunately, it didn't make the 5, but it's right there. But,
Speaking of which, what's your number 4?
My number 4. Okay. My number 4 is Food Fight.
There you go.
I did have it in my stack. I was telling you before I didn't. I did. I play this all the time. I freaking love it. I have the Replicate. It's an amazing game. Charlie Chuck's Food Fight actually was the arcade game.
Okay.
But awesome.
Yeah, it's funny because it's one of those games where there's like not tons to say about it. It's just like just play it. It's fun.
Yeah, just play it.
Well, and that's the key to it, because like we've said many times in other episodes, like that's where a lot of these Atari games still shine today. It's just the simplicity to be able to just sit down, enjoy it for 20, 30 minutes, and then try to get the high score and move on to something else. And I mean, and like Food Fight just hits all that. Like again, it's a game I really like for the console, and I still play it a lot because again, just the idea of being able to throw in 8 directions, to take out the chef and try to eat ice cream there at the end. Very simple concept, but it's a lot of fun. And if you've not played Food Fight, it's definitely a game you need to try if you're wanting to experience Atari 7800. It's one of the must plays. So
But you
Yeah.
know, Moria, she saw me playing this one time. Moria is my granddaughter. She's like, "Papa, what are you doing?" And she didn't understand what was going on. And I said, "There are these pits that these chefs come out and they start throwing things at you, and you have to try to make it to the ice cream cone so you can eat it. But you can pick up food along the way and shoot the food to the chefs that are attacking you." And another thing too, a lot of people don't understand this. I didn't understand this when I first started playing it. Is if you leave the level, if you have something in your hand when you eat the ice cream cone, when you go to the next level, it will already be in your hand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah,
But really,
it's kind
the
of a,
goal, like you said, is like you have to eat it to beat it.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to beat it to eat it.
okay.
I had
Alright.
to beat. I knew Poe was going to put in the chat anyway, so I figured I'd beat him to it.
Oh goodness gracious.
Yeah. It was
Did
coming.
I tell you guys this was PG before the show? I thought we didn't have to do that.
You have to eat the ice cream cone to beat the level.
Okay,
I
all
don't
right,
know
as
what
long
you
as that's
read
what
into
we're
that.
talking
Yeah.
about. All right. Okay. I get it. All right. My number 4.
And
It's
then you
Commando.
and then you get the instant replay of eating it.
Say Commando?
Commando.
Huh.
Wow.
It reminds me of Atari Warriors. I've not really played Atari Warriors. It's actually on the 7800 as well. I've not really played that a whole lot. But Atari Warriors, to really play that right, you kind of need a controller that, you can shoot in one direction and then move in another. And you can't really do that with Commando. But the game definitely utilizes the 2-button feature on there for your weapons, and it can get intense. It can get a little intense as you're playing. It's just a lot of fun. I like shooters in general, and I consider that a shooter of sorts.
You're muted, Mike.
You're muted.
Sorry, I sneezed. I muted myself for that. It's a run and gun. It's not a shooter.
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. You still shoot.
You do shoot.
All right. So anyway, that was my number 4.
It's a good pick.
I'm not great at it, but I really enjoy it. I do. I enjoy playing that
Yeah.
game. It's so much fun.
It's not a bad game. I think, like, for me personally, like, the hard thing for me when it comes to Commando and a couple other Atari 7800 games is that I didn't play them on Atari 7800 first. So going from like playing Commando on the NES and then going to the 7800 version, it's just like, it's a little rough. Now, for being a 7800 version, it's good. It is. But like I said, my issue was just mainly because of starting with the NES and not getting a 7800 till much later in life. That it was one of those, same with Rampage. I mean, again, I don't know if it's on any of your guys' lists, but it's just after playing, the NES version, which was not the perfect version by any means, but then eventually playing the Master System version, which I do feel during that era of time was the best version of Rampage, to then go to the 7800 version, and it's just like, oh.
Agreed. That's a good analogy.
I played Commando on the NES, just like you said, and first, and I didn't have a 7800 when it was actually out. I had it later, and I was an NES fan for a long time, and so it was, I played it there first. When I played it on the 7800, I was kind of like, it's not quite, in my mind, it wasn't quite as good as the NES version.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me, and maybe it's because I played that one first. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I also feel the same way about a lot of the like ports on the 7800. I spent a lot of time in the arcade, so I played the arcade version. And so when I played the these versions later in life, I was kind of like, so it has to really stand out to me to be like a good port, because I spent a lot of time in the arcades, but not for Pac-Man because I was too young. That's why I like the 2600 version.
Me too.
I couldn't beat the arcade. But yeah, totally good game.
Well, as we move on to number 3, you're going to see I'm kind of in Phil's corner because my number 3 is Commando.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So this past week, like, in fairness, the 7800 original library is not something that I play super frequently. And it had been a while since I had played. And I remember that I really liked, it doesn't mean I'm good at them, but I really liked either Atari Warriors or Commando. The fact is, so I played them both on stream this last Saturday. Not very well, but I played them both on stream to remind myself. Both of them I liked. Atari Warriors has a lot going for it. It has like your weapon power-ups. It has music while you play. I think it has slightly better graphics, especially in that intro plane crash. But especially when you're in the tank, I find the controls so clunky in Atari Warriors versus Commando, which is a more whatever direction you're pointing, that's where you're shooting. And so
except for grenades. The grenades only go up.
The grenades always just go up, but that's okay. I actually tend not to use the grenades very much. But
Same here.
as was evident of people in my chat saying, there's a POW camp, you just have to throw a grenade here. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Which I never really knew when I was younger. And by younger, I mean I got my 7800 probably in 2000. But when I was playing it back then, I never knew about the secret POW camps. I just try to get through.
I feel so bad. I was talking about my channel recently. I had a 7800 briefly when they came out. I got my first job when I was 14 in 89 till I get the Game Boy and the Super Nintendo and all that, which I did.
Yeah.
And then I actually got an Atari 7800 for 2 days. I got it, and then Super Mario Brothers 2 was coming out, and I had no money, so I took it back and got Super Mario Brothers 2. I know that's terrible, but
at the time, it was probably a good trade.
Boring. I was at that point I was 15. It was boring to play Asteroids, so I wanted to play more Mario, so that's what I did. I had it for 2 days, and I wish I kept it, but I did. I was a solid Nintendo guy back then, so it's
as was I. I never played as a kid. I never played Commando on the NES. I did play Atari Warriors, and I loved Atari Warriors on the NES.
Yes.
So I never really had that comparison of, oh, this is the inferior port. I just like the game on the system. It was a lot of fun to play. I'm glad I played it last Saturday on my stream. It's just fun.
Well, and again, when you factor the specs of the 7800, I mean, it is a good port for the 7800. I mean, and the fact that it does use a Pokey chip for the sound helps that even more, And,
I mean, for a system that's supposed to be out in 84, that's pretty good.
Right.
Right. Right.
Well, actually, I think it was even earlier than 84, maybe. I don't know. But, yeah. But oh boy. But
this is why we stream from the waist up.
TMI, baby. TMI.
Yeah. So look,
I thought you wore a diaper, Mr. Post Style. I'm just kidding.
Very unpopular Game Freak, very unpopular opinion, but I respect it.
All right, Brian. So what is your number 3?
Yeah, so my number 3, and again, it's not really a shocker at this point, but my number 3 was Food Fight, and again, it's. I mean, we've talked about it for the most part, but but the one thing I don't know, it's not exactly, but like it reminds me of just that quick play of like doing Gremlins on the 5200. Like that's another one where it was just somewhat of a style, not exact. It's not exact, but it was just like I find myself playing Gremlins a lot. So it's just that simplistic gameplay of going and just enjoying, the time that you're spending with it, that you don't have to put a huge investment in it. And Food Fight, like I said, to me is that same concept. And again, it's very simplistic, but it's so much fun in my opinion. And like I said, seeing the replay stuff, different things that they did add with it. Like I said, we've already probably talked about it enough, but it's definitely one you need to try. So.
When the core gameplay is just enjoyable on its own, repetition doesn't matter.
Right.
You're good with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it
As
does
an
vary up enough that you're not doing the same pattern every level.
Yes, there's variation.
Right.
Yes,
there's enough variation in it. It's just the end goal is the same. Get to the ice cream safely.
Yes. Food.
That's
I
been my
also
goal
like
in life
that-
all my life.
If you read the manual too and the story behind the game, every chef actually has a name, and I think that's awesome. And they each have a personality, and I think it's one of the first games I feel like that I played that was kind of like that, where everyone had a personality like that. Because I played the arcade game a long time ago.
Is it like, so here's something that I've played a lot of Food Fight. I don't even know. Do the different named chefs act differently?
I know they look a little differently, especially in the arcade.
I know they
version.
look a little different, but
yeah, I think some of them might run faster, but it might just be random. I'm not sure if it's a characteristic or if it's just kind of random. It might be random, but I can't recall. But in the manual, it goes into detail about their moods.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but awesome game.
Yeah.
Not surprised we heard it 4 times already.
three times, and it was Phil's number 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It just missed my list. Spoiler
So
alert.
definitely a must-have.
Yeah. So BCB, what is your number 3?
Well, as everyone kind of knows, I was an Atari kid growing up, then I got into Nintendo for 20-something years, and back into Atari when the pandemic happened because I was bored and I freaking loved it and went down a few rabbit holes.
Man,
But
I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing.
But yeah, I was watching an old our first interview together recently, and I think we were talking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, But my is it number 3?
Yes.
Number 3.
Yep.
My third one, I was talking about that because my third is Mario Brothers. And I'm picking Mario Brothers. It's not my top favorite because I played it on the NES first and on the arcade.
Mhm.
And this is, in my opinion, a slightly subpar version,
Mhm.
but it's great to have it on actual Atari hardware because if you know the story back in the day, Atari and Nintendo were in court a lot in the 80s, and they were in court over Donkey Kong and Mario and other things, and so it's really cool to have this on the system. I mean, especially since it's such a huge franchise now, right?
Yep.
And actually, Nintendo approached Atari for Atari to sell the Famicom in the U.S. and Atari said no. And that was probably turning point in gaming history.
Yeah, I talked about that a couple weeks ago. We didn't do a Retro Bliss Rewind, but I did one where myself and a gentleman from Scotland, we ranked the video game like Nintendo, Sega, Sony, Microsoft, and Atari in terms of influence. And spoiler alert, I put Atari at my number 1 spot. And a part of that explanation was we have a Nintendo the way we have Nintendo because Atari screwed up and was like, no, we're doing our own thing.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate, but it's it's what we have today, I guess, right? But it's it's a good port. I like it. I always find myself playing it. The controls to me do seem a little off on this version just because I'm so used to the arcade and the NES version. Just enough for me to notice, right? But it's fantastic. I play it all the time when I play on my 7800. I love it. So, and it's such an iconic franchise too. So
It is a classic. Honestly, my
play
favorite
it.
way to play it is in Mario 3 when somebody's trying to pass over and you're
Oh,
like, nope,
yes.
and you try to catch them.
Yes, I remember that too. That was awesome. Especially whenever I remember having Super Mario Brothers 3. I was like graduating high school at the time or something, and I was freaking amazed, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's all these nods to the past. I love it."
Yeah.
I freaking like a culmination of the past 10 years of my life, in the arcades and playing Nintendo. So yeah, awesome.
Well, the last time I played Mario Brothers on the channel, our buddy Daryl Ginther, if you guys don't know him, he is a homebrew programmer. He's the one who did the awesome 7800 version of Popeye, the homebrew. He messaged me and told me that he's not happy with Mario Brothers because it's very buggy. He says it's buggy. I don't know in what way.
Yeah, the 7800 version, kind of like what BCB said, was just it's not the best port. Like, I think graphically, out of the Atari versions, graphically, you could probably say it is. I mean, though that some people prefer the 5200 graphics over the 7800,
Yeah.
but there is issues with the game, like just different decisions that they made that that they did not do in the 5200 version. Because I think, and even myself personally, I like the 5200 version better, though the 7800 version is definitely better graphically. But in gameplay, I usually go to the 5200 version if I'm going the Atari route. But I will say, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with Kabuto Coder here. I don't think that, like, even the 2600 version is a solid port for the 2600.
No, I mean that the 2600 port's impressive for being an 2600. At the time that they made it. So
it's so hard to justify in your head that this machine that was made to play Pong is playing Mario Brothers. Right, and you're like, "Wow, they've come a long way."
Yeah, even more so now with homebrew. What they're
there are
doing,
a lot
it's
of super impressive
nuts.
games in the original library and as I'm going through all my mini reviews, I'm discovering more and more of them. I'm like, geez, this is
a lot.
Even like back in 83, 84, this system was doing wild things that you never would have thought they would be doing in 79.
Definitely wasn't designed to do the things that it ended up
and
doing.
it's especially doing impressive things in like 2025.
Yes, sir.
Well, and that was the impressive thing of the 2600 version of Mario, because again, they didn't have, because we all know there's a lot better versions of stuff with the homebrew community, things like that, because there's more techniques now. There's more memory available to put on the cart. A lot of different things that they didn't have back in 1980.
Not necessarily that they couldn't have had them, but they would have been very cost prohibitive.
Exactly. So to see Mario come out the way it did on the 2600 with just pretty much a standard cart was definitely impressive for that game.
Yeah. And Mr. Baseman, I'm pretty sure all of us here on this stream will have to imagine it, because we'll all be dead in 2087.
Unless we're frozen in some space station somewhere heading to some other planet. I don't know. To be reawoken earlier or later.
All right, Phil.
All right. Now, my top three were kind of the rules for the top three for me were the similar to what Brian B Dog was saying about what constituted to be on his list. The first two, not so much. 5 and 4, but 3, 2, and 1. Yeah. I'm gonna. You guys may disagree. Donkey Kong. I really enjoy playing Donkey Kong on the 7800. I don't know why. It's just a version of Donkey Kong, and it's not even as good as the arcade version, which I could play anytime.
Yeah,
but I guess, I don't know, I've played it so much that I'm actually not horrible at it. And I really enjoy playing it. It's just one of those things. The sounds are spot on. The gameplay is pretty spot on. I just enjoy Donkey Kong, and Donkey Kong is just that. It's just Donkey Kong, but I enjoy it.
I respect it. It's an excellent version.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's missing a level or two, but I like it.
well, and the thing is, though, all the Atari ones were missing levels. So I mean,
Yeah.
to the fact that I mean, it had. I agree with you, Phil. Out of all the Atari versions of Donkey Kong, I think the 7800 version is the best of all the Atari Donkey Kongs, and and it is something that I enjoy picking up and playing for 10-15 minutes because, again, it is its own feel, and it's still a good game that keeps a lot of the core mechanics down. And again, for being the 7800, graphically was really good, and especially if it would have came out when it was originally supposed to come out.
Yes,
So
it's an expensive game too. It's one of the ones that are over $100 to buy now in the box. If you haven't seen lately on eBay,
I think
Oh,
I think Cafe Man 2D was right. I'm pretty sure the 8-bit computer version has all 4 levels.
it might. Like I said, I thought none. I didn't think any of the Atari versions had them, but it could. So
I mean that makes it an Atari computer game as opposed to a console game, but
That's debatable.
so.
well, that's debatable because they made the
XEGS, but the original, even though the XEGS could play the original, they were not released as XE games. So there's many different.
Actually, they did re-release Donkey Kong as an XE game.
Oh yeah, so Torque confirms that the one that you can play on the XEGS, so you could play it on a console, does have all 4 levels.
Now I'm gonna have to check out the
I have
8-bit
it.
version.
I think I do.
I know I have Donkey Kong, and I always played my
XE.
8-bit stuff on the XEGS.
All right, so we're at number 2 already.
Number 2,
Michael.
Well, I don't know about already. We're at 47 minutes. We're doing pretty good.
It doesn't
We're doing pretty
seem
good.
like 47 minutes.
My number 2 is Tower Toppler.
Oh man,
I love Tower Toppler. It takes a little getting used to. If you can't picture that, you've got to picture that you're walking around a column and that's why it's rotating. I know why some people, their eyes go a little squirrely playing that game. But you play as this little monster guy and you're just trying to get to the top of each of these towers. And you take these little elevators and you walk along a platform. There'll be a little thing in your way, so you got to walk the other way. And then you can shoot it from behind, or you can get on another. And then you walk in these little doors and you'll come out another door. And literally the only goal is to get to the top of each tower. And it's so much fun. It's a puzzle platformer. I really like Tower Toppler. There's really not... It's kind of almost like Food Fight, where it's simple. Just get to the top of the tower by walking left or right and shooting some things that are in your way.
but it sounds simple, but it isn't.
But yeah, it's one of those. If you haven't played it before, play it.
And
That's
if you
all I
play
can
it, you need to keep playing it because
it's also really cheap to get in the box on eBay. I think it's like $20. So at least it was when I looked recently.
Yeah, it's not one of the pricier games.
Yeah, and it's good. It's really good.
So here's my question, and maybe I just got a bad copy of it, and do you have to do something special to get the game started and going? Because I've tried to play my copy and I can't seem to do anything with it.
You have to use the password, BD.
It's
You don't know
Topple the Towers is the password to log into the game.
Yeah. But so again, I might just have a bad copy of it. So I could not actually play it. So I mean, it would start up.
put it on a multi-cart. You have that too. Try that.
Yeah.
Should work fine.
But no, I don't recall any funky way of getting the game to start.
I know in emulation it doesn't require anything special. It's
Okay.
just Yeah.
I might
so-
just have a bad copy then.
And apparently, Funkmaster V would have appreciated the fact that Tower Toppler was there on the list. So
Funkmaster V. Yeah.
yeah, he would have been a good guy to invite for this as well. But we really wanted to give BCB a second chance with the
Yeah.
weather.
It's cooperating now. Thankfully.
All right. B Dog.
So
Number
my
two.
number two is Joust.
Oh, so good.
Such a good port. Yeah.
Oh, it is so good.
I mean,
Love it.
I enjoy playing this version probably more than other versions of the game that I own. So, so I own plenty of versions of this game, but
Don't we all?
oh yeah, but no, I really enjoy the 7800 version. Graphics are good. You know, it's using the onboard sound, but the sound's still good. Again, out of the Atari ports, I still think this is the best one, and again, just playing it two player is fun. So, I mean, it's a great game. It has started to get a little more expensive. I don't know if it's dropped down or not, but
It used to be one of the really cheap ones.
it used to
You
be
could
a
see it
really
everywhere,
cheap
yeah.
one because I mean, I literally I think at the time paid $3 to $5 for this. You know,
Yeah.
but like now I think loose is somewhere in the 20-ish range.
Getting up
So,
there.
but again, I think this is one you definitely got to play if you want to experience games on the 7800.
Now,
Yeah.
and we didn't talk about this prior to the show. I'm assuming that most, if not all, of these games play on the 7800 plus and the 2600 plus.
Oh,
I'm
they
not
do.
100% sure
Yeah.
about that.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
Everything that
Joust
we've mentioned
definitely
so far works fine on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So.
So,
I wanted to add also this. I freaking love that game too. It's, and I love the 7800 version. I recently played the Joust on the ST and it blew me away. It's got like 16
really?
bit sound. It's just like the arcade version, just like it. And I was
Really,
like,
I don't think I
wow,
played the ST version.
it's so clean. It looks really good. So if you get a chance, play the ST version too. And it's great everywhere you play it. But the 7800 version is just awesome. So
I would say that the 7800 version is better than the NES version. I think they nerfed the
Definitely.
NES one to make Balloon Fight feel better.
yes, I think
I love Balloon Fight. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But like the NES version of Joust is disappointing to me.
No, I'm not a fan of the NES
Very.
version. So
very disappointing.
All right. BCB.
All right.
You're
My
number two.
Two is Desert Falcon.
Oh, there you go.
I also have the XE version that just fell out of my cabinet. But yeah, I freaking love this game. I think it's a very underrated game on the system. And you know, I don't think a lot of kids, well, I didn't have any friends had even heard of the game whenever I first got it that were into classic gaming. So, but it's like a while back, but it's such a great game. I love all the work that went into it, from the box art to the story to the actual game, and it's so great. So yeah, it's my number two. I play it all the time. I also play the XE version like a little bit more because in my mind it's slightly improved, even if it isn't, it is in my head. So I usually play it back here in my, on my XEGS, but freaking love it. It's so great.
I love.
7800 Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the fact too, like Desert Falcon, when you think of it, you're thinking like a helicopter in a desert war zone, but no, it's literally a falcon in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the music in that game is pretty decent. It's kind of, I grew up in an era where I wasn't used to there being any music in any game that I bought for many, many, many years. So, I guess I appreciate that a little bit more than the next person.
It
but
definitely has good music. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad at all.
I like the hieroglyphics you have to collect too to get,
Yeah.
and then the Sphinx at the end of every level is really cool too.
I
Yeah.
love the fact that you can tell what they are as opposed to the 2600 version. The 2600 version is good,
It's
but
good.
like in the 7800, it's like, oh, that's what that was
What it
supposed to
is.
be.
But
it
to
was
your
the
point,
links.
though, I mean, I do like that they took that style approach of literally an actual falcon, and it's like very heavy Egyptian themed.
Makes it feel very mythical.
Yes.
Yes.
So
And you're like, oh, it's a pyramid. It wasn't supposed to be a mountain like in the 2600 version. It was
Yeah.
it's actual. It's a Sphinx. Oh, okay.
All right. My number 2. Played it today. Robotron 2084.
I thought that might be your number one.
No. Close. It was
No,
it was a
it
toss-up.
isn't. Oh, I thought it might be.
No, this
I
is
know
my
how
number
much
2.
you love Robotron.
We have the best way to play this game is with your dual white stick from BD Retro Mods. Oh, we have a shameless plug. I forgot. No,
The
actually,
Retro Bliss Rewind podcast brought to you by BD Retro Mods, your
it-
source of arcade controllers for old consoles.
I bought that for the 2600 homebrew port by John Champeau, but the controller works perfectly for the 7800 and it works perfectly for my Atari 8-bit computers. And to me, there's just no other way to really play it correctly. I played it today without it. I was using, I'll show if I can, okay. When I stream, I use my Logitech F310 controller and I program the analog sticks, one to shoot, one to move, but it's the control isn't quite like it is with the controller that I bought from Brian. And I'm thrilled with the game, and it is just, it's very, as you guys saw today, if you watched the stream, it's very fast paced, a lot going on. Your reflexes kind of have to be there. And so it's number 2, not number 1, but not by much.
Yeah, and my apologies. I was thinking number 1 because I have to do number 1 next. So I was
Right,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's Phil's number 1. Yeah, it's a probably the best Atari version. I'm not sure. Well, maybe 5200. I'm not sure. I haven't played a ton of Robotron, not because I don't love Robotron, but because I'm not good at Robotron.
I like the Lynx version. I think that's a great version. It pops. It's fast. I love the sound. It seems louder to me, but I like the Lynx version.
I will say to Game Closet, I love Dig Dug. It's a big nostalgia choice for me. It almost made my list
Me too.
because the 7800 version is fantastic.
It was like number 8 probably in my head, but
yeah, like it would have been a lot easier to actually do a top 10, though. We wouldn't have had time for that. But I mean,
it's 2 hours special.
That one's definitely in my top 10 because I'm, again, compared to the 2600 version and even the 5200 version, the 7800 version of Dig Dug is, again, in my opinion, is the best version between the 3 Atari consoles. So
yes.
Yeah. I will say, the reason we can't do a top 10 is because BD Retro Mods can only afford to sponsor a 1-hour show.
Well,
we would
better
need
speed
another
it up
sponsor
then.
for the second hour.
We're gonna have to find another sponsor here in about a minute and a half.
Well, we can gift him the extra 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we're number 1s now, right?
Yeah.
My number 1 should be no surprise to anyone. I think I mentioned this when we were talking 7800 last time with Funkmaster V, but it's Midnight Mutants.
Cool game.
I love the theming. It's a game that that has a learning curve. You have to kind of figure things out. But visually, I think it's the best on the system. Like you've got these massive kind of boss monster things that you have to fight, like big massive heads. There's little cutscene graphics where it's telling you a story. visually very impressive. It's fun to play. I've beaten it maybe 2 or 3 times. And that's as a guy who, like I said, I don't play original 7800 that often compared to what I do, especially the last 2.5 years where I'm playing mostly for my channel and it's almost all homebrews. So I mean that says a lot. It's quirky for sure, but it oozes character. It's got fantastic graphics. I love the game.
Yeah, I actually got that off of eBay, and to get it in the box was too expensive. So I got the game, and then I got a repro box. And
I've got it in shrink. I can't even open my copy. I play it on emulation.
I couldn't afford the shrink wrap copy. Like when I was looking, it was $200 or something. But
I got it before it was that much.
Yeah, I got the cart, and I got an aftermarket box that someone made plastic. But it's great because you can see that, it's got Grandpa Munster on there.
Oh yeah, and you sold me just with that image, right? Like Grandpa Munster. Who doesn't love Grandpa Munster? Mm-hmm. And yeah, like the artwork on the box, even. It's just like, what the hell is this? I want to play it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was in that period of the Atari 7800 where they're like, well, we know we really can't compete with the NES, so we just got to come up with these real crazy games.
Whatever's the weirdest stuff you can throw on there.
The weirdest stuff. So like Midnight Mutants, Ninja
Howard Poplar and Midnight Mutants.
All the,
just... and it's funny because again, it's 2 very different games, obviously.
Right.
But like in my head, or actually no, one was a show. Maybe not even because I mix these up all the time. Yeah, okay. So Maniac Mansion.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like it, and that kind of vibe. Or I remember there was a computer game I used to play called Hugo's House of Horrors. Mm-hmm. And it's that kind of feel. It's very campy, but I love it.
I just wish that Elvira was in it. That's the only thing missing. Elvira, right?
They could only afford her for the links.
I will make a shameless plug before I pass on to B-Dog here. But this week I don't have a review coming, but next week I'm going to be reviewing Batty Isabella 1 and 2 on the Game Boy. If you are into Elvira, Vampirella, any of that kind of campy horror kind of stuff, even if you don't like the Game Boy, watch these. These games are amazing. They're funny, they're witty, they're full of innuendo. They're hilarious.
I love stuff like that. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. B-Dog. I keep sorry.
No,
what's your number one?
So, and again, I don't think this is a shock at this point, but my number one, it's Robotron, and again, the reasons for it is kind of like why I like Burger Time so much on the Intellivision too. I mean, they kept the concept of the arcade, but they kind of did their own thing, knowing that, we're not going to get exactly like the arcade, so let's make it to where it just feels right.
Let's make it as best we can for the console specifically.
Correct. Like, we're not going to try to just port the arcade over. We're going to take the concepts, the mechanics, but make it really fun for an actual console experience. And that's one of the things I really liked about Robotron, that it did that very similar to how Burger Time was on Intellivision. And on, just some back history. I mean, again, enjoying this game. What I didn't enjoy was playing it with one controller. And
right.
And on, I mean, this was the reason that I made the dual stick, because I played it with one controller. I'm like, this sucks. And even
making a coupler for the 7800 controller, that doesn't work very well.
Wasn't it sold with one in the
I remember the 8-bit computer version came in a massive box that had like the little plastic thing that you could put 2 Atari joysticks in. It was flimsy, but it was there.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think the 5200 version had a coupler.
52.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure that 7800 did. And yes, I do. So, but yeah, so then, again, it was not good, but obviously I saw they had, an option for, dual stick mode. So then I took 2 controllers. I'm like, obviously this sucks too, but this idea is a lot better. So then that's when, I designed up a dual stick arcade stick for it. And again, I don't
Cafe Man does it the old school way: duct tape and glue, cardboard.
So once I had
saw
the
a video, I was just going to add, I saw some kind of video on YouTube where someone used like milk jugs and taped them or glued them together and put joysticks in it.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just once I actually did the dual controller for it, then that made it. Like they really should have sold that from the get-go, even though I know at that point in Atari 7800, they probably figured it wasn't going to sell, but
not worth an accessory for a system that not many people had.
But it is a whole different experience when you have a very good dual stick
100%.
controller for that game.
Well, by the way, I have a review up. I put a link in the chat if you guys want to check that out afterwards, just to see what mine's like. So
yeah, it was also a game that inspired Jeff Minter quite a bit. He talks in Llama Stop, the Jeff Minter story, about being inspired by Robotron a lot, and so he had out his version later, but it inspired him a lot early on, and Berserk too. But,
okay, all right. Well, BCB, what is your number 1?
It is Joust. I play this all the time. And like I said, I spent a lot of time in the arcades in the 80s, like at Putt-Putt, friends' birthdays, and I played the hell out of this at Putt-Putt. And so when I got this version, I didn't get this until the pandemic. I never had played it on the 7800 before, and I freaking loved it. I love everything about it. It's great with 1 player, 2 players. It's fantastic. I love everything about it. I have it upstairs on my arcade 1-up Mortal Kombat 2 Williams cab because it's a Williams game. But just fantastic. And like I said, try the ST version too.
I am definitely going to do that. I have an
I'm going to look for the
emulator.
ST.
Yeah, I had an ST back in the day, but I had the monochrome.
You can play the ROM probably online.
Well, I'm
wondering I'm sure I have it.
And I'm also wondering if it was on the ST, there might actually be a JAG port for it too.
I think there is.
Because a lot of ST games got ported over to the JAG.
I think you can buy it from eBay now for like $20 on JAG CD, and it's the ST version. Yeah.
Well,
fantastic game. I love it.
Yeah, I love Joust too.
Is Doom on the ST?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I did a news story about that a few months ago. Yeah.
So
cool.
as much as I love Joust, it didn't make my list. I played it a lot too, but there were a couple games that you guys, I thought about Joust.
We all know your number 1 is 2600 Pac-Man because the 7800 is backwards compatible.
No, but you will be surprised. You may go, what? It's just because you might think, why would he pick that game? That is like Asteroids. I think that the 7800 version of Asteroids sounds and plays great. I love it. It's probably the most unique version of Asteroids that I've ever played. In that, it's the gameplay is there, but the graphically, like the boulders are solid. The sounds are very unique. They're not Asteroid from the arcade. It's not trying to be like the arcade version. It's just kind of doing its own thing. And I love playing it. And Bob DeCrescenzo, I believe, used some of the coding from that game to do Asteroids Deluxe. I'm not 100% sure about that, but yeah, I think he did. and I love it. It's great. I enjoy that game a lot. And like I said, the last three, my top last three, I picked because those are the ones I seem to go back to regularly. And I guess because I'm older and I'm not as analytical as Mike might be with some games, he has more patience. I just want to shoot stuff. And so
And you know what? I have noticed a lot of people rank 7,800 asteroids very highly. And, is it visually super impressive? Sorry, Brian, you can unmute I'm going to mute you. You can unmute when when you want to talk, because your static is really bad. It ranks highly for a lot of people just because it is a very clean, very very slick version of asteroids, and it doesn't try to be anything that it isn't. It's just, here's a really good version of asteroids, and I can definitely respect that.
It was probably number 7 on my list, Phil, because I play it a lot too. It was so hard to narrow it down to these 5. These are the 5 I'm playing a lot right now. That might change over the months as you.
That happens with any top list. As a matter of fact, I've done some, top homebrew list. 6 months later, I'm thinking, well, those aren't on my list anymore. I want to, these are the ones I like better now. It's just things change over time. But
even if it's the same 60 games, you might have a new top 5 every once in a while, right? Because
right, exactly. So, very interesting episode. I've enjoyed this a lot. We've talked about when we did our top 5 Atari 2600 retail games. We had John from Gen X Grown Up on the show, and that was also a really good podcast. And I would say this one, it went just as well, and I had just as much fun with this one. So I love the 7800. I bought a 7800, and it had some issues with it, and I gave it to Brian, and he did some drilling. he did.
You just said a bad word to Mike there, Phil.
Yeah, and so it's AV modded, and he recapped it and everything, and
he was willing for drilling.
Yeah,
he was killing for a drilling.
But it's sweet, and I have a back bit multi-cart, which multi-carts for the 7800 are not. They're not great. Like the concerto cart is. I've had all kinds of issues with concerto.
The game drive is the best one right now, for sure. I know there was also, I think.
Yeah, but baby got back bit.
That's right.
Because there was also, I think, a Dragonfly, but you can't get that one anymore. I know the Dragonfly technically can work on the Plus consoles because you can load like one game at a time. Like you choose.
You can send one ROM.
Right. But with the current flash carts out there, it's pricey, but it's worth it if you want to play on an original console. Is the 7800 game drive by Retro HQ. That is definitely the new gold standard when it comes to that. So
I also have the Lynx game drive and the Jaguar game drive.
Yeah,
both of which blew me away, and they're worth what you pay because you can put everything on it. And then mine came with everything already on like one of them. But the Lynx game drive, I mean, I never played Battlezone on the Lynx before. I bet playing back here actually. But I freaking love Battlezone Lynx. It's so fun. And there's so many games on there I never got to play because they're so expensive and kind of lost to time, so.
Something I just saw too is that the game drive for the 7800 has an AV out on the cart.
It's RGB out.
Oh, RGB. It says AV out. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so that you don't have to drill.
Yeah. See?
So... But no, I mean, again, that's the one. If you were going to go buy one today, that's the one to get for sure.
Yeah.
But I have to get that one still.
But I will say though is I think the 7800 is definitely something to go back and revisit. So I think someone said one day you guys will convince me to get a 7800. Like I said, I didn't get into the 7800 until much later in gaming, and it is a fun console. And you know, when you think about alternate realities, if that console would have actually released when they wanted it to release initially, I'm not saying it would have beat Nintendo, not saying that at all, but I think it would have given more confidence, you know, and maybe
It would have given more
prevented-
confidence in Atari because
Yes.
it would have,
Yes.
it's like it would have beaten the Nintendo to market.
Yeah.
But the problem is that confidence was already gone. So
87 was too late.
it
Too late.
would have done a heck of a lot better, I think. I still think Atari's days were numbered at that point. But you know, even if you emulate, you know, nobody here is advocating for you to go and download free ROMs, although they are easy to find on the internet. Not that we would tell you that, but the A7800 emulator is really quality. It's easy to use.
For Windows, and OpenEMU for Mac users, I've not had any issues with any 7800 games on Macs with A7800. So I mean with OpenEMU, excuse me.
And there's also ROMs on Atari Age, right? You can just download and play.
Oh, there's tons of homebrews if you're
great
looking.
homebrew stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
We weren't talking about homebrews today, but there are some, you know, stuff coming from Muddy Vision, from Opcode is releasing some of the stuff now, and of course Atari Age, among others.
Yep. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. BCB, don't leave me. As soon as we go to the outro, we want to say thank you in the green room. So guys, just to let you guys know, I
don't
Did
hear
he
Phil.
go
Bill?
right at the end of the show? He goes mute,
Oh,
and
no,
he's
he
frozen
froze.
now.
Uh-oh.
Do you know what he was going to say, Mike? Do you know what he was going to say?
He was gonna say, thank you everybody. Make sure you subscribe to BCB. He's a great guy. And he was gonna say, make sure you subscribe to Mike's Gaming Gala if you haven't. And please subscribe to the
here.
Retro Bliss. Hey there, okay, he's back.
all you guys disappeared. I just saw these spinning circles. I don't know
You were in the middle of talking, and then it was just like in my head, I was like, did I disconnect? What the
He must have taken his happy pills early, right?
Yeah.
I
didn't hear really what was going on, but for 3 weeks following next week, there will not be a Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. However, I believe, Mike,
there will probably be an MGG live.
Yes. So you guys go over, if you haven't done so already, go over to Mike's Gaming Gala. Go over there, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know.
I was right.
And then
we were guessing what you were going to say, and I said that you were going to tell everybody to subscribe to me.
And then same thing with BCB, Ballistic Coffee Boy. We all know each other. We've known each other for a long time. And that's right. Brian, B Dog, as we've been calling him. He does have a YouTube channel, but he also has a Facebook page with all of his wares on there. So you guys need to check out all of his controllers, or come over to the Bliss Cave. I can show them all to you. I got most of them anyway. So
I got to get there one day.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right, guys. We'll see you next time on Retro Bliss Rewind. Goodbye.